Hello, everybody, and good afternoon for everyone over here in Europe. It's already a bit later, of course, in Asia if you're following us from there. And welcome, everybody, to the ESL Challenger League. We're taking a dive here into Asia, and Sneaky, we've got a pretty exciting matchup lined up.
Yeah, we're revisiting ex-5yclone from yesterday. They are currently the only flawless team in this bracket of Challenger. And today they're going to be up against the likes of WingsUp. Now, WingsUp is a very curious team coming into today because, yes, they're a Chinese team, Chinese organization. They're currently 3-1 up in Challenger. But they've just added Kriaz and Blogis, a Swede and a Czech, coming over from Europe to try and I guess, elevate the level of their team, hence the name Wings Up. This project is similar to what Tai Lu, which is what ex-5yclone is now, tried to do with Emmy and Roga, and to say that it didn't go amazingly well is perhaps putting it politely, but can this be the European import team that actually manages to make a good hot start in Asia? We will have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think especially Wings Up, their latest results haven't been the most stellar. You know, they
Yeah.
back in season 44 of ECL, they came second, but last season it was only the top six that they managed to get, and teams like the Mongols, teams like Vision, and Cyclone here, they are just simply better right now, and they are, yeah, the results are not maybe quite there as that we were used to seeing from them.
Yeah, I mean, WingsUp, I feel like they did need a change, but at the same time, going European is a massive, massive risk to be taking. Nothing but love for Krias and Bloggers, of course. They are great players in their own right. It's great to see Krias back on a team after the Finest project. Bloggers coming over from Sampi, if I'm not mistaken, is an interesting player to be picking up. His most recent tournament was IESF, if I'm not mistaken, there. So he's got a very inflated rating at the moment on HLTV. That's a 1.31 as an AWPer. He was pretty good on Sampi. He definitely was elevating their game, but it will be interesting to see whether or not he can elevate Wings Up as well, now that the team technically has three AWPers on it. Land, the AWP IGL, Korea's a rifler and second AWPer, and, well, Blog is coming in as, I'm assuming now, the primary.
Mm.
And for CS2 as well, now that AWPers pretty clearly have less impact on the game, I mean, it's going to be a very difficult adaptation period for both the team and for Blogis, but I think I've heard that the veto is ready in my ear there, Veronique.
Yeah, yes, indeed. I'm curious to see where this can go because ultimately, you know, Cyclone has been really grinding out the game. Their map pool is very diverse, and even the map that they often insta-ban, they've even had occasional affairs on those maps. So, even I don't even think a punish pick would, for example, really hurt them. But let's find out what we've got going on. So we have a Mirage ban coming out, for Wings Up, and then for ex-5yclone we have an Ancient ban. Ancient is pretty much the insta ban, and Mirage is it's sort of at the bottom for Wings Up, so not really too many
Yeah.
surprises there. And then Anubis pick and Inferno pick. What do you make out of that one?
I think it's an interesting pick here for the likes of. I mean, Anubis for Wings Up. Bearing in mind, Anubis is, again, a map they've played one time and have lost.
Mm,
It's an interesting one to be going for here. They typically ban Vertigo over Mirage as their first pick as well. This is the first time they've actually ever first banned Mirage. Again, new lineup, new possibilities. Who knows what's going to come into play there? With Inferno picked, yeah, that's a lot more to be expected. It's a little bit of a punish pick attempt, I'm assuming, from ex-5yclone here. I mean, they had a very, very good run on it yesterday. They were able to win 13-4. Bearing in mind it's CS2 as well, it's clearly a map they're comfortable on, a map they feel
mm.
learned on. And going to a decider of Nuke. Now, that's exciting. Wings Up have played it twice. They are yet to win the map. But as we mentioned yesterday, ex-5yclone or Tai Lu, they played it 12 times and have won on 8 of those occasions. Not only that, it was our deciding map of yesterday. It was just
Yeah.
unfortunate that the Mongols had a power outage and were unable to finish that best of 3.
I was excited to see Nuke yesterday, but who knows? If it does go to free maps, we might have a little revenge today that we can
Yeah.
still get to see it. 'Cause Cyclone is pretty good on it. I'm so surprised because it is their most played map and the highest win rate technically currently for them in the map pool. But they often keep it afloat as a
Hmm.
decider, whereas picking into it, which I I think is very interesting. It's sort of perhaps
It's the
keeping
insurance
your strong
policy.
exactly, yeah, keeping the strong suit at the end, so you
Yeah.
pretty much guaranteed still bargained win, even if it were to go south. But Cyclone has just been thriving here in Challenger League. Currently, the only team with a clean record. So yeah, 9 out of 10 times I don't even have to worry too much about the pick, even if it's not their best map.
Yeah, and they've got some really solid aimers as well. And they were actually playing with a coach yesterday, so was the Mongols. They were playing with Cami instead of Mosea, so it'll be interesting to see whether or not that is going to be a mainstay throughout the rest of this tournament. I mean, I reckon with the way Cami was playing yesterday, they were perfectly assimilating into the pack, actually outragging Advent for the most part. Advent has been struggling in recent times. That was also evident on the first map there. He wasn't putting up the best of ratings, but I mean, come on, it didn't really matter. It was a 13-4 victory. The team played really, really well. I think stand-up player there was Kays, despite being the AWPer. He was able to find a lot of incredible frags. Mercury as well, really going ham. And I hope to see Edmund show up to a little bit of a better capacity today. I hope WingsUp aren't going to be playing with a coach. I still have no idea what roster they're really bringing to the table. Is it going to be Kriaz, Child King, Blogis? Is 813 coming back from the coaching role? We can only speculate until we get
Yeah.
into the server, but I'm excited to do so. We are just waiting a couple moments more to find out if everyone's on the server. But Fearless, I mean, do we have any scoreline predictions here for this matchup?
Ooh. I mean, if I'm really gonna be honest, on paper this should be a 2-0 for Cyclone.
Okay.
But you never know. Yesterday it was between the Mongols. I thought Cyclone should have had it maybe even also relatively easy in the back, and it got real close there at the very end. Till the point that that I wasn't even sure who was gonna be winning out each map every single time. So sometimes the underdogs can definitely still bring a very big
Hmm.
fight to the table.
Right, now I have just been informed that yes, that veto was very, very weird for a reason. The veto was bugged, and so we are having a re-veto done right now.
Ah,
And
I
on
see.
that note, we are going to need to wait a little bit longer. I'm actually very curious to see what this re-veto is. I mean, my anticipation is WingsUp get rid of Vertigo,
Mm,
Cyclone get rid of Ancient, because yes, they play the map, but it's one that they're not particularly
mm,
keen on. They are yet to win
yeah.
it despite playing it 3 times. It's never one that they picked. Um, I reckon Overpass, Nuke, Inferno, maybe that sort of territory is where we'll be looking today.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if WingsUp go for an overpass. It is definitely somewhat higher up there. Still,
Hmm.
a good chunks of man that they played it. On the flip side, though, for Cyclone, I think it sort of still remains in the same territory of. I don't really think that no matter which map WingsUp pick, the map pool was so deep on the side of
Yeah.
Cyclone, that on paper, I think they can pretty much take them down on any map. But yeah, for WingsUp, it's just about expanding your chances, and perhaps a map like Overpass can do that for them.
I mean, we have to remember that ex-5yclone is currently on their way back from ESL Pro League, where they were able to
Mm,
beat Imperial, they were able to beat
yeah.
M80, and they had some really, really tough, close losses to teams like 9Z. They really pushed Fnatic to their limits. I think even Navi struggled on the first map. Like, these guys are a true global competitor team. And I mean,
Yes.
there's a reason they are ranked 25th in the world right now. Even that might be a little bit stingy, as they don't get to play against the big shots, the EU teams, all that often. But I have been informed that the veto is almost done now, so we should be able to bring that back to you in just a couple of moments. But until that comes through, I mean, my prediction here is that yes, Cyclone's map pick is the deeper one. They technically have a 7 map pool, and outside of the
Yeah.
seventh in Ancient, they are pretty good at the maps that they play. And Nuke and Overpass are their 2 best, which already eliminates a big sort of comfort second pick for WingsUp.
Yeah. This is sort of a very scary matchup. At least Wings
Hmm.
Up, of course, they should have all the resources to prepare for a match like this. The only downside being, of course, they technically have a 6-man roster, so I do wonder on the back end of things how that is sort of going down. And as you're saying, you have multiple people that can fulfill multiple roles, so do they have like a set lineup to perform in each and every single tournament? And yeah, how do you then prepare for a game like this? Because on paper, there's a lot of info and a lot of statistics to be found on a team like Cyclone. So you should, you know, with a team like this, it is sometimes a bit easier to try and figure them out. But if your team is sort of not really solidified yet, it can make it tricky.
Yeah, is this where we see like the vitality of old? Was it vitality or Navi bringing in the
Yeah.
sixth man mid series as well? Map
hmm
2, you get Child King. Map 3, you get Bloggis. I mean, it would be fun to see. I don't know if that's still allowed in the ESL Challenger rules. I think they might have updated that in recent
Mm.
seasons, but regardless, it would be pretty funky to see that coming on through. Yeah, so they've currently got, was it Bloggis registered as a substitute for this team? So I don't think
Yeah.
813 as the former coach is actually still here, if that makes
I
sense.
don't think he is. No. I think on HLTV is also listed as a former member of the team, and when WingsUp announced their new lineup. By the way, they called it the worst announcement ever.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny. They sort of were joking around with it. But yeah, they just announced the 6 players. They didn't really say this player is a dedicated sub. It was just like, we have Ian as IGL and a rifler, and then
Hmm.
we have four riflers, and then Blogis technically being the dedicated AWPer. So yeah, you would assume they're gonna be switching around some
Yeah.
riflers here and there. So on pay, to me it was a bit odd when I found out that Blogis was listed as a substitute, because on paper he's the AWPer. I mean, sure, I think someone else can definitely fill in his shoes. But if you have a new player, you're gonna have him as a substitute instead. That is a little odd to me.
I think that might more be down to the fact that he was the last player to be registered to the team. Because bear in mind, this
Yeah,
is day 7 of Challenger League Asia or Asia Pacific. Um, yeah, there's already been an existing team. They were already able to win 3 matches, lose one before today, before they played now. But I have heard in my ear that we do have a new veto ready. So
dun, dun,
abracadabra.
dun.
There we go. Oh, okay.
All right,
Picking
so
Mirage instead of banning things, and then
I
Inferno
think
and
that
Nuke.
is maybe a bit
Yeah.
more logical.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, instead they drop Vertigo, which is their insta ban. So yeah, there we go. This is more like how it should be. Ancient still banned here for ex-5yclone, and then Mirage being picked into Inferno is still up there, and then Anubis overpass ban, and we still have a decider of Nuke.
Yeah, there we go. It's actually a pretty similar pool, so just, getting that Vertigo at Mirage swap around, I think was necessary. These guys have never played Vertigo. It would be quite unfair if they had to play it later down the line. Sorry, that was, of course, a second ban, but Mirage coming on in. Mirage needed to be there. It's not the most confident of maps for the likes of WingsUp. If we're looking
Yeah.
exclusively at HLTV, they have played it once and they lost it, but they
Yeah.
have played it elsewhere. They've played it on the Wikipedia level tournaments, and also it is probably the best map to assimilate your new lineup into because it
Yeah.
is more puggy. It's a lot less strat filled. Everyone knows their smokes, and it takes a matter of hours rather than a matter of weeks to just properly drill yourself on set strategies. I think this is a good start for WingsUp, and I am excited to see which roster they are bringing to the table here. And it's also going
Yeah.
to be interesting seeing WingsUp adapting to speaking in English for the first time.
I do wonder how that's going to be going. I mean, definitely there have been plenty of teams in the past that have proven that that is not necessarily an issue with going
Hmm.
international. We see it happening a lot with the Danish scene, with the French scene, and now slowly dripping into the Asian scene as well. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting one. Now that we do have Mirage though, it's a map that Cyclone doesn't really play. We were talking about it, technically a 7 map pool.
Yeah.
But it's only twice played in the past 3 months and only won once. So it's sort of there as a last resort often. But perhaps with that WingsUp, um, they can definitely play with them up to their advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I reckon we could still be staring down the barrel of a 2-1 here. I mean, after Cyclone's Inferno yesterday, I think that's a
Yeah.
pretty safe pick for them. And then with Nuke as a decider, I mean, they've banned very, very well there. Let's be clear. Nuke is the sort of the savior, the insurance policy. We've already mentioned it.
Yep.
Um, But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a reverse sweep had to come in here. I am still excited to see what WingsUp are going to be able to bring to the table. Again, CS2 moving to Asia. It's
Mm.
all very, very new for a lot of these players. But yeah, it's not the first Asian team we've seen do this. I mean, going over to ESL Impact, the female scene, we've now got what, a Brazilian, Malaysian players, Chinese
Yeah,
players all melded into one team. And it's definitely taken them a while to get back on their feet. I think the
yeah.
language barrier is going to be an issue, especially changing your IGLing language. I mean, I don't know how Bentet was IGLing in 3 languages and still top fragging. He is the very, very,
Yeah.
very rare exception to the rule.
Yeah, no, that's certainly for sure. I mean, you were mentioning Impact with HSG.
Hmm.
They were already speaking a bunch of different languages, and sometimes that does happen in Asia, where, I mean, ultimately, the English language is just less prominent. It depends a little bit on which Asian country we're talking about. But if you already have somewhat of a mix, sometimes they tend to already preemptively switch to English instead. So I think with then additions of Europeans, maybe, the bridge definitely can be gapped, but
Yeah.
is it easy? Absolutely not. And I think for us Europeans, I mean, here it's a lot more common. And usually people sort of very down the ladder are just mixing with a big bunch of different countries, which is just not really a thing that happens all too much in Asia. So the step a bit bigger, but it we have proof it can be done.
Yeah, no, it certainly can be. Now, I have been informed that, again, Cami will be playing instead of Mosea, so that will be
Yeah.
the coach standing in for the likes of ex-Cyclone or Tai Lu. I'm not
Yeah.
entirely sure the reasoning behind it. I'm pretty sure Mosea is still on this roster. I could be wrong. There could be
Mm.
something going on behind the scenes. But again, Cami played perfectly well yesterday. They
Yeah.
assimilated nicely into the roster. Wings up on the flip side, though. I think the roster is going to be Gas, Lan, Flying, Kriaz, and Blogis. Again, Chalking
Mm.
might be slotted in there somewhere, especially if the first map goes badly. But
Yeah.
yeah, Blogis is in. They're going to be AWPing, and it will be really interesting to see how they cope with the CS2 AWPing. I mean, I have been testing it out again. I mean, after we played last night, I went back into the deep dives of Premier matchmaking, Mirage. And
Yeah.
you have to play very, very passively, it feels, as an AWPer because
Mm.
of well, the Pika's advantage, and also it's really, really hard to land sort of aggressive flick shots now. It's difficult to be that aggressive AWPer because it feels like flicking is really clunky now. It almost feels like you're punished for flicking instead of sort of holding a wider angle.
Yeah, we have definitely. I mean, for the past 2 days, I've now been casting CS2, and already I see a very large increase of the amount of riflers that are out aiming the AWPers, which
Hmm.
often was a sort of, occasionally we get to see it and it's like an amazing thing, and now it happens ever so often, and it's really a pattern that I've been seeing. Of course, we have to wait out if this is something that will continue throughout this entire season, for example. But on paper, it's a bit of a scary thought. It definitely asks a bit of a different strategy from Europa, and we have to see who are going to be adapting and who can't.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite pleased with myself. In my 2000 ELO, I got an AWP ace on the A bomb site of Anubis. Yeah, no, it's been a rough tumble. Fallen 7000 ELO from the beta, but we move on.
No.
AWPing is tough, but that's again. I just needed to slip the fact I got an AWP ace in there. Really, that was my my one proud achievement of the past couple of days, as it is interesting to see how people are adapting it. It does feel like the game is still surprisingly, I want to say, CT sided, despite me anticipating that
Yeah,
there would be a lot more T side advantages with the Pika's advantage, with Orbis being outdueled. But we have seen a lot of AUG investments. It wasn't just in our game
yeah.
yesterday.
Hmm.
4 AUGs and an Orb. That is not something, again, I've seen since 2019. But
Yeah.
yeah, there've been scope weapons all over the shop.
Yeah, and I mean, we are talking about how the orb. I mean, it's not necessarily nerfed, but yeah, we see definitely a bit of a switch in the pacing. So it's interesting to see that maybe therefore people are switching to the AUG, but you still want to have the AWP just in case. It all depends a little bit. Also, I think we have lost Sneaky in the process. For what it looks like, Kid, he is smiling very nice at the camera. That's at least a good thing. But hopefully he should be back. He has a little internet issue. But without further ado, we're gonna be heading straight into the game either way, and it's gonna be kicked off here on Mirage.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're just waiting for one more WingsUp player to join the server. I heard Bloggis was having issues, but it's good to see that he is here and in person. We got Flying, we got Land, we got Kriez and Bloggis, which means we are waiting for Gas to join the server too. Hopefully that does not take him too long. As, well, we don't want Cyclone to run out of steam.
And I do wonder how this will go. Cyclone yesterday already had a very good performance on this map, but it got extremely close. So I do wonder, what have they learned? What can they take away from that map now that they're up against WingsUp?
In the meantime, they're just practicing their knifing in towards middle.
Also a very important skill.
Yeah, I am really not so good at the knife rounds. I don't know what it is. Does CS2 have a different knifing range as well? Because I feel like it's easier to knife
like
people.
I mean, it's so weird. Like, sometimes I feel like that shouldn't hit and it does.
Yeah.
And when I think this should hit, it doesn't.
Speaking
and I'm like,
of hitboxes, hitboxes in CS2 have been a point of debate quite recently.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Oh, they definitely need a little bit of fine tuning. I think 128 tick is still a solution in part here. I've seen some interesting theories thrown on out sub tick shooting, but 128 tick movement. I think that might be an interesting solution. The amount of people that have died that are completely behind a wall but still get headshot by the guys shooting at them, it's been interesting to watch. As I'm assuming that is just a countdown to another warm up there. There we go. We are match paused. Are we going to find 5 players for WingsUp, or are we going to be playing 4v5 here?
I sure hope not.
I've seen it done before.
It would be quite a shame. Hopefully no further internet issues. But, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting affair. The debut here for Kriez, for Bloggers within this squad. And they have not really had many officials since, I would say, sort of August. It's been a bit quiet. Of course, the whole switch to CS2 and Challenger League had a bit of a pause because of Pro League. So it's quite understandable, but I am curious to see how warmed up they are going to be in that server.
And on the warm, sandy, I guess, streets of Morocco here for Mirage. They look a little bit brighter with our Source 2 update, with CS2 coming on out. But will the future continue to look as bright as it has been for the likes of Cyclone? Well, we'll have to wait and see. I have been informed that there is unfortunately a Faceit anti-cheat issue, which is nothing particularly serious. It is just a pain to deal with. The amount of times I've had that bug myself is just so annoying.
It is. Happens to the best of us, so hopefully...
and the worst of us. I'm really not very good. Yeah,
no, but hopefully it should be solved shortly.
Yeah, we might need to get some music in here. We might need to start a rave like we did yesterday. Yeah, I don't know.
Little party while we wait.
Production are incredible here at Asia. Shout out to them. They had my disco lights popping. And then over in Europe, we went to... Oh, there we go.
Oh!
There we go.
Hey, yo! we have music going on. Should I put my disco lights on?
Okay.
Oh, but this is nice.
Yeah, that's pretty smooth. That's a smooth rhythm going there. And on this note, as we continue to wait for the anti-cheat to fix itself up for our fifth and final player to load on in, I think cueing this music might be an appropriate time to throw ourselves into a short break. Hopefully we should be back within maximum of 5 minutes as we sort out the rest of our small technical issues. Thank you for bearing with us, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere and we will be right back with you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally here. It is Cyclone versus WingsUp. We made it. We're in the server. Apologies again for the delay. Nothing we could do on that front. But WingsUp, they do still have Kriaz alive, I believe, as Lan chiming on in for a kill onto Cammy, the opposition coach. It's a good start. K's trading straight on back. Vlog is find another Mercury. That plucks up undercover from the skies. I'll have to find out who that is in a moment's time. As Lan now peeking around the corner, pressures Jamyoung, and Blogis gets those digits punched in. It is a 3 versus 3? Yes, 3 versus 3. As Jamyoung looks to change that. Oh, might not be for the better though. Oh! Jamyoung, that's impeccable. 2 major franks to his name. Leaving us now with a 1 versus 3. Kriaz needs to do it all. Plucks off the first. The bomb is tapped. He lands a leg shot, but Jamyoung does it again.
He is just not missing at all. And with that, oh my lord, ex-5yclone, they bring the heat here in the pistol round up with a 1 to 0. I mean. Also, apologies there. We had a small issue with the HUD, I think, right?
Oh no.
Oh no, it's
Oh,
still.
Kriaz.
Oh, Kriaz. He's shown as dead, but well, he's not. He is as alive as can be.
There he is, just to confirm.
Yeah.
Yeah, bomb planted. He's brought up into an AK. He's up likely to buy up as well. As well, WingsUp given a hero rifle to the Swede. It's still going to take me a little while to think of Kriaz as an Asian CS player. But yeah, here we
Yeah.
are.
It's a new day and it's a new life for Kriaz. Immediately though, they're gonna be picking up the pace here, trying to get onto B, and of course I'll leave it to Jamyoung to find even more kills to add to his occasion. Sure, we do have a rifle picked up here for Gaz. He's doing quite a bit of work, but it's now all onto Blogis. The Tech 9 in hand, up towards Car. Slowly, the players are starting to wrap around him. Blogis might swing towards Markets, met with 2, and sadly, can't even get a single one of them. So that's a nice conversion here for ex-5yclone, 2 to 0. But WingsUp now have some more cash in the bank, and this round will be important.
Yeah, it certainly will be the hero rifle of the previous round. It does at least net them a sight, but it's not quite enough for the round itself. As Cyclone, they start particularly strong here. Now, undercover is Gas, just to get that out the way early on. As Kriaz does have more than 0 HP. He'll be on the Mach 10 at least for the moment. Mercury covered in a shroud of smoke as Jamyoung's had an incredible start to this map. 5 in 1, managing to get a kill in the previous round on just a single point of health before he's eventually shut on down as Jamyoung going aggressive. Does turn his back though. That was an ill-advised maneuver as Flying flies through for a trade, but Cammy, the coach, ready to receive, standing in again, puts us now in a 4 versus 3 situation.
Bomb on the way towards mid, but they have this 2-man setup, and Mercury is left to deal with on the path, but his teammate dies. He needs to look around, and he definitely just, well, pretty much with ease picks them up. Also, I love CS2 physics. The way that from a headshot someone just starts flying 2 meters up in the air. It never fails to crack me up.
I love the way it's server-sided as well now. So these ragdolls are just people flying to space. It's great fun. It's now not so fun for the likes of WingsUp. They are on a half-buy here with the Dastardly Deagles. Apparently, the Deagles are absolutely busted in CS2. This is according to fellow commentator B-Dog. But I'm yet to see too many flashy Deagle plays. I'm more of the opinion that, you know, the 5.7 and the P250 are my favourite pistols. As Anvent, well, ensures that Cyclone are the favourites to pick up this round fairly cleanly. Kriaz peeking out and towards middle, doesn't spot anything on his initial approach. Yeah, this is looking like a 4 to 0 for Cyclone, no questions asked, unless these Dastardly Ds can do something menacing.
They're up, but Jamyoung once again flashes himself in, does not quite spot anything towards middle. Is at this moment, people up in underpass in towards apps, slowly trying to group up. But then again, we have a bit of a problem, of course, with a death over towards A, the bomb being down. What do WingsUp plan to do here?
Well, WingsUp ebb their way towards B despite the bomb currently being lost in CT spawn. K's good for the first frag. He spots 2 more running past. Mercury here to assist. K's doesn't need the help. Cammy from short chimes up for another, leaving poor old Kriaz, who was already dead by prophecy, is now dead confirmed. That's 4 on the board for the CT side. And our Chinese Malay squad gets off to a blinding start. Can WingsUp finally refute this, finally add a round on the board? They're going to have to, because there's only 12 rounds and a half here, making that first gun round all that more important.
And Cyclone have built up some nice bank, building up their momentum, but it's time for WingsUp to show they have got what it takes to try and disrupt that momentum. They have Bloggers up on an orb. Oh, I do love this. Something like, you know, spamming right through, which of course leaves a tiny little gap in smokes right now. It's perfect for peeking middle like that. This time, WingsUp, we're patient. Not going to be showing too much skin. Oof. That's a very hefty nade. A flash comes right on top. Another nade for Ian in his face. That's not the most ideal start there.
Yeah, Lan has been butchered down to just 11 points of health by frag grenades and even a flashbang landing on him. There's gas in towards Palace here. Plays a patient lurking game, but they're going to need to start seeing some presence taken from WingsUp here if they want to stand a chance at the round. Flying, caught in a complete veil of grey, waits outside the B apartments, but he's the only person here. He's going to have a double entering responsibility. And also looking at the util side of things, WingsUp are really starting to run out. Cyclone have been using theirs pretty nicely. They've been delaying and they still have a full set on K's. K's is not currently in the right position to be using them though. It's down to Cammy and his prowess on the A1S, the rotation of Mercury. Now the fragging ability of Jamdown, who's proven himself so far. He starts proceedings, can't find anything more though. Flying, jumps out into the bomb site, leaving Mercury towards bench. So far undetected to find not 1 but 2, and that should be enough. The Tech-9 can't quite find the kill on gas, but it is now a 1 versus 2 for the man, and as the Molotovs rain on down, they tick at his feet. He's 4 HP, and surely this is a bit for Cyclone.
Oh.
I forgot Kriaz was alive.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a pain. CS2, unfortunately, does still have its little bugs that we are unfortunately experiencing. But as you were mentioning, this was looking like a very possible retake. And once again, ex-5yclone, they do make it happen. Now 5 rounds in a row. And this is really where things start to get scary. They are just an inch away of winning out the half. Because, yeah, at the end of the day, we have lesser rounds to work with, and it's scary that WingsUp can't really get anything going as of yet.
Yeah, I would also like to confirm that Kriaz does not have $16,000. If he did, there would be a lot more util on the WingsUp side right now. Logis missing a Molotov. Couple of flashbangs missing 2. Lan taking the worst blow. Left only with a single flash. Mercury, though, does a perfect peek in towards middle to start things off. Kriaz actually dead this time. Nades fly over. Cammy, lovely peek. Good for the first. Damage onto the second. Man advantage retained. And they look to own the extended further on the Cyclone side right now. Taking a little while for this roster to assimilate, it seems, and the stress of being unable to connect to the server and now having 0 tactical timeouts remaining, probably weighing heavy on the side of WingsUp. Their opening outing not possibly going as good as it could be. I'm just hoping they're able to find their footing before Cyclone win out this half flawlessly.
WingsUp grouping up all towards apartments. We've seen this sort of before. They've been loving to try and set foot onto B. Ooh, missed the initial player, but Kazi does know that someone has already crossed with a flashbang. It is very, very good, but Kazi might just be better. That is a third. Wow, what a massive round. And just when you think there's a glimmer of hope for WingsUp, it is ex-5yclone that shut them right down.
Yeah, WingsUp just getting exiled from every part of the map they try and play their trade to. And upon further realization, okay, bomb has been granted back to spawn. That's good to see. Yeah, it's a little unfortunate with the Korea situation here, but he is at least on the server, and I don't think he's actually having any problems in the match. Mercury, in the meantime, though, looks to cause further problems for WingsUp. Not that they didn't have enough already, but a full B execute, a fast play, apparently being geared up for, and this could well be a solution. Currently only Jamyoung here to defend. Oh, and the nade, though. The nade on Jamyoung could be a real deal breaker. Doesn't do as much damage as I thought it would. Flying on the receiving end, and speaking of flying into the site, but they overlook Cammy's position, not for long. Jamyoung, Cammy, they both go down, and Mercury has a rather tall order ahead of him if he even wants to consider the retake, and they won't. WingsUp, it's a flawless round, 5 alive, and finally put an end to Cyclone's streak.
I definitely can see why, knowing that WingsUp still have a bit of a rough economy, don't want to be handing too many other weapons over to your enemy's hands, especially the Orb of Kaze here. So, just gonna be sitting tight and wait for these two on the pistols to start to hunt them down, but Gas is here, the first one to fall. Borges, does know that there's a player up close, but who's going to be quicker on the trigger? Mercury is ready. Oh, he turns his back. Oh! Wow, a massive 180, and does not quite land the kill there up on Krias. So I think he did get away with the weapon right there. So, alright, here and there a rifle transferred over, and the first round is coming into effect. But can WingsUp convert?
Well, they sort of have to at this stage of the game. One more round and it will be Cyclone winning out the half. This is WingsUp map pick as well. Mirage is meant to be that puggier style, and especially now in CS2. Minus the stutterings, you can round a corner like a madman, and more often than not, you are not going to get sent to space. Smokes deployed in towards the top and middle, though, as Blogis and Correa's attempt to take presence. Still, the Orb is struggling to find all that much in terms of real estate. And again, Blogis hasn't really been AWPing all that much, and K's on the flip side is 8-2. He is playing that more passive line. He's not going for the crazy picks like you could on Go. As Korea is now decides middle is where he wants to go, and Mercury is none the wiser, at least for now. Molotov's rain on into window, though. He starts to get investigative. Reyes as well, pushed up towards the smoke. Does he go for the con swing? Now, that's no longer really an opportunity. 54 seconds on the clock as WingsUp gear up towards B again. They found success there before. Can they replicate it? Or will Jamyoung be ready this time? Okay.
Well, that was a bit of an uncanny miss, but maybe it doesn't really matter at all. Yes, Kazi eventually does go down, but at the end of the day, it's a 1 versus 3. Blogis with his orb, and there's only 20 seconds left. Oh, someone over towards the bench, and once again, the shot's not quite there. It's just a bit of panic mode. Maybe at this point, you kind of just want to die, because dying after time would be even worse on T's side, but Cyclone, they just continue where they've left off, add a 7 to the list. And even WingsUp, they do have money, but it's, at the end of the day, still going to be a very much uphill battle.
Yeah, shout out to Mercury for the recovery there. And that's what I mean about flick shots being a little bit inconsistent in CS2. That looked like it was directly on the player, and the bullet tracer even went through them. They were able to adjust in the former Ks, but oh no, that window smoke is missed completely. Mercury now allowed to hide in it as Kaze is tagged down to 7. In the meantime, Kriaz doesn't spot Mercury on the left eye peak, but Bloggis is swift to dispatch of him. Land now also taking up presence in the bottom of middle, but nades flying everywhere. Speaking of flying, down to 8 HP. Cammy, does he go for the spam here? He decides against it as instead, short control, catwalk presence taken up by Bloggis. Jamyoung peering on through. Won't quite be able to spot him, but does see 2 going in towards Connector. Molotov, does it force him forwards? It doesn't necessarily mean to, but flying forces Advent out the round. Jamyoung, excellent nade. A 3 versus 3 here as he reloads, but flying catches Cammy on the rotation. Land catches Kaze. And it's all up to Jamyoung in the 1v3. 2 players desperately low. Gas will be the real problem here. Wait, that's the bomb. Oh no, they've just lost the bomb in middle. Jamyoung could still take this entire round.
Oh!
Find another! Jamyoung eventually shut down by Gas. That round got far more real estate than it ever needed to for the likes of Cyclone.
That was pretty nuts to think that Cyclone could still take it away. And WingsUp, it should not really have gotten that far, and it keeps the economy in a very tight spot. They can invest again, but it has to be a very big reinvestment, and still, the rounds, if they're going to be ending up in isolation, that is going to be a very tough pill to swallow. And you're going to be really struggling as far as economy goes for these last couple of rounds here in the first half. Oh! That is one juicy nade up on the head of Bloggis. Now Kriya's also taken out a, well, 4v4. Indian does spot the kill there over towards short, so it keeps things even. A WingsUp, still spread out. I'm gonna see where they can group up.
Yeah, they've been pretty good at taking mid control. They haven't always been the best at utilizing it. They were in the previous round, but things got a little dicey there. They look to make things a little dicey for Cyclone instead, though, as they slowly stack their way up towards, say, bomb site. Blog is already low HP. Needs to be careful here. Needs to rely on the support of his teammates, as that ramp smoke's not going to last too much longer. Advent and Mercury need to outlast this assault. Smoke coming over. A slight gap in it towards Connector. Could be indicative of signs of a fake, but I think Flying might have just been spotted by Advent's jump peak there. Mercury as well, 13 in 4, by the way. Ready to come on over and assist. He's at the bottom of the staircase. Spots one in towards Palace and one coming over towards Sandwich. Mercury ready to swing wide, but fully blinded. Decimated by Flying. And it is now a 3 versus 4. Kaze peering on in. Doesn't quite spot the side of Flying as this retake starting to look increasingly more difficult, especially with that kill going the way of Flying. This might just have to be the save call here, Veronique, as Jamyoung mollied off. Not much health left. And Kaze will still catch Lan.
Just trying to disrupt the T side a little bit. Maybe even an opportunity with a player coming in from Connector. Spotted. Sadly, not quite a timing. Elbow even sticking out. But as Cyclone is still busy trying to get the defuse going, there is just simply no time anymore. WingsUp find a third. Unfortunately, will lose both of their players. That's a bit rough. So the money's still kept at very, very much a low point. But so it is for Cyclone. This is actually the first time that they won't have money to invest.
Yeah, I think the Gas being called Undercover is an appropriate nickname, though, as he swings wide from Palace and finds both of them whilst being completely undetected. Yeah, Cyclone almost could have gone for the force buy here. There is zero money on WingsUp right now. Kriaz on the Mac 10. But no, of course I understand why they don't want to go for it. It is just Kaze on the Dastardly Deagle. As Cyclone go for the 5-man stack towards B. I like the idea, but unfortunately the execution comes out towards the opposite side of the map. Smokes rain down galore. I really like the wall deployed there by WingsUp. Yeah, they account for every eventuality here as Kriaz runs into their own Molotov and takes a healthy bit of damage. But speaking of healthy damage, that's exactly what Cyclone's mission will be here. Remove guns from play, make the round costly. A defuse out of reach, but it would certainly be nice.
Not really making any moves, just waiting on exits. But it looks like WingsUp can deal with it pretty effortlessly. Only Mercury that is left. Does hear a couple of footsteps. But then again, those who are hunting, for example, here Kriya's up on a Mech 10. If he were to lose his weapon, it's not even going to be the end of the world, but it's fine. Kriya's even lands himself a little bit of extra cash here to work with for that final round of the half. Cyclone have money here again as well up on the table. But let's see if WingsUp can make it just a tad bit closer.
Yeah, another crazy thing is that we don't have 8-7s here anymore. We have 7-5s as the closest half scoreline outside of even Kilter itself. 6-6 not a possibility. As Kaze almost tickles down Blogis. Instead, it's Mercury to finish that job. They continue to aggress, flying tank on down heavily, unable to adjust in time for the eventual push. It's a 5 versus 3 right now. Gas in towards Palace, assisted by Krias, trying to take space towards the 8 bomb site. I feel like anything less than 8 for Cyclone here would be pretty rough given their incredible, flawless 6-0 start. Advent up in the head off of Krias means it is now a 5-on-2. Lan and Gas not in particularly promising positions. Lan actually anticipates where Callie's going to be playing from, leaving just Gas in a 1-on-5. And Veerless, call me crazy, but something tells me that this is not going to go his way. Mercury lands the final headshot, and it will be the 8-4 half for Cyclone on their opponent's map pick. Find out if they can continue to the finish line after this short break.
Welcome back, everybody, here to this matchup between ex-5yclone and WingsUp. And, well, ex-5yclone is doing wonderfully thus far here on Mirage. 8-4 is the scoreline. And already, the beginning looked very, very promising. Towards the end, though, WingsUp definitely started to get some more momentum on their side. But can they continue here now that they are up on CT?
The K's just phased through his own legs there. That was a sight to behold. I know we talked about the legs yesterday. It's still not something I'm fully used to, as Advent will interrupt my conversation about player models. And will remove one from the server. A nice start from the T side. Lan unable to trade things back just yet. A battle of the IGLs here. As Advent does eventually go down to Bloggis, but it's all a ruse, Veerless. It's all a ruse, as it's actually an A plant, and Cammy holds off the rotation through the murder hole. As the rest of WingsUp slowly ebb their way through CT spawn, Jamyoung keeps himself tucked in above the boxes. K's all the way under Palace. It's a perfect crossfire. Although Mercury has to step in and save Gas's life as he falls off the box at the worst possible time. Jamyoung still kicking too as Lan jumping above is unable to catch a mid-air shot, unsurprisingly, and with the bomb timer ticking as low as it is, this is a great 9th round for Cyclone. Log is butchered by Cammy, and there we have it. That's the round.
Yeah, this is now very, very tough for WingsUp. Them being on CT side, you can force up here and there with some kills, but it is very risky because if you're going to be forcing and losing, then you're very far from home. Cyclone could just potentially then walk away with it all. So WingsUp instead, I don't think they will bring an investment into this next round. Just eco, give them double digits, and then try to fight back.
Advent pushing in towards middle, and, well, no fight back in middle just yet. The IGL is farming up a couple of ecos here, almost deals with Gas as well, but is kind enough to leave it for Cammy. Flying does crack the back of his cranium straight on open. Hold on a minute, Flying. That was pretty saucy. USP beats Rifle, apparently, as he goes in for more. Okay,
players
Flying.
alone.
Hold on. That's a 1v2. There is a genuine chance of Flying clutching this one up. He's just making sure there's nobody top mid to deny him anything further. Yeah, you're right. Jamyoung and Advent very low. Does he actually go for this?
I mean, you might as well just take the weapons away, make it costly, because this was technically an eco anyways. It's kind of clear out ramp, but yes, there is indeed a player around the corner, but Advent pre-fires, here's the footsteps, still gets rid of Flying. But that was very close, perhaps closer than you want this to be.
I mean, yeah, that was almost a 1v5 clutch. I won't amp it up as an almost just yet. It did fall flat towards the end, despite both players being incredibly low. So was the clutcher on 7 HP. Cyclone now currently 10-4 up, 2 away from match point, 3 from a victory. As this is probably one of the first double AWP setups we've seen implemented. I think we might have seen it pop out once or twice yesterday. But again, AWPers have been really struggling on CS2 because it is a lot more clunky than it ever was on Go. Even with its more recent nerfs, even with the movement changes. The Cyclone take full mid control in the meantime. Gas peering on over as Cammy. Does he go for the swing? Oh, the barrel was not spotted, but he's not quite going for it just yet. Instead, the window smoke is deployed, and that allows Cammy a little bit of wriggle room. As Kriaz peeks back out of Palace.
They have a bit of control going. Ooh, but this now can get very interesting. Kriaz might want to take a bit of a peek. And now no one actively is there, but if Cyclone make a bit of noise, Kriaz could have the perfect flank set up. Ooh. I mean, surely he should know.
Okay, Kriaz is in the perfect spot right now. Bloggis does miss all 3 ramp pushes though. Drains his crosshairs in on Advent, waiting for the peak. Actually ends up with K's instead. Kriaz is still an unknown entity, but Jamyoung, that's a ridiculous shot onto Gas. Bloggis will be unable to deny that bomb plant. They stick it slightly off center, so he won't be able to land the wall bang, but now A double rear flank means that Cyclone really need to start checking for this. One goes down. Advent spotted above the smoke, but he's just dealt with Kriaz with Jamyong. Hold on a minute, it's all up to flying. How have they dealt with that so well? It felt like they weren't even checking their flank, Fearless.
No, the initial hold up on the sub is very well done and sort of eliminating a bunch of different angles. And then you sort of only have Rampant Palace left, so very naturally, with Cyclone there in the post plant being super proactive, it landed them a very good shot to deal with that retake. So WingsUp, they continue to be still stuck on that 4 rounds. Not very ideal, because only 2 more is needed for Cyclone to steal away their map pick.
Yeah, this would be their second 13-4 and map ones in 2 days. They were able to do it on their own map pick yesterday of Inferno, but Mercury picks out gas from the pack early on. The flash flies through. Oh, okay. That was K's. I thought Mercury landed the jumping headshot. That would have been pretty clean, but instead Prius cleans up onto Jamyong. As Cammy finds one more. It's now 4 versus none. The round is over, and there are now 8 opportunities for the likes of Cyclone to close this one out. Really, really nicely done in the start of the first half and the start of the second.
WingsUp have to bring it all to the table to try and get it to overtime, but man, is it an uphill battle. It needs to be perfect and clean in order to get to that finish line. Let's see if they can do so. They're actually waiting here to just go perhaps with a 4-on a execute. At least Bogus deals with the first and with the second as well. They sort of go in one by one, not really dealing with stairs.
Frias is dealt with though, at least temporarily, forced out into the open, but I've told a lie. That's only an advantage for him. Quickly dispatches of Advent and K's on an AWP of his own, unable to respond. Jamyong stuck in the smoke, doesn't know what the hell's going on. Spots a rifle barrel, but flying is swift to trade. The Tracer's K's now hurries away from the action as he realizes that this is probably not something worth fighting for. Does he go for the full 1 minute save though? Will he even be allowed as Lan pressures down towards his position? K's edging forward. He'll fall to Lan. Nicely done from our AWP there. As that will be now 7 rounds required for an overtime. It's not clean, but WingsUp at least buy themselves a chance.
Of course, there was still a bit of a buffer here for ex-5yclone to work with, so as far as weaponry goes, not too many worries. They can still try and close it out here. And, I mean, ultimately, they still have plenty of chances, even if they were to eco. But WingsUp definitely show they're not gonna be run over. Oh, I love this. Our production is literally 10 out of 10 here. Yeah, so Kriaz, he is alive. We unfortunately have a little CS2 bug, in which, yeah, he's just bugged out and he's shown as if he were dead, which in fact he is not.
No, he's thriving. He's moisturized. He's in his lane. I don't know how many kills he has. I'm sure we'll find out after this matchup. I feel like he's had a decent level of impact so far. I've seen his name pop up on the kill feed as Riaz really needs to deal with Cammy here. He's in such an annoying position, but instead of dealing with him, instead he fades back out towards CT. As Mercury tickled by the molly, but manages to get up on top of the boxes in the nick of time as Gas now waits for Cammy instead. I like this crossfire. They are very, very aware of Cyclone's current position. How are they going to end this one up? It's clearly towards A. Blockis, though. This is a shot, and that's a problem. Cammy ducks under Kriaz, and is subsequently going to eliminate him. This is looking very good for Cyclone to close right now. And Cammy even gets another before flying puts him to bed.
Puts to bed another player, but then again, it's a 2 versus 4. Oh, and they're struggling big time. And there we go. 2 final kills have been found. A 13-5 scoreline it is. And, well, we were already saying, even with a Mirage, that is typically a map that ex-5yclone doesn't really play. They're bringing it to the table either way, and they do not look scared whatsoever.
Yeah, and the fact they've done a 13-5 on their opponent's map pick to start things out is just super, super impressive. For the entirety of the start of the first half, they looked invincible. Finally, WingsUp were able to break through, and they did get 4 clean rounds in a row, but then it was straight back over to the WingsUp side. And with that, it looks like their struggles are only going to continue coming into our second map now, the pick of ex-5yclone. Veronique, anything you'd like to add before we fade to a break?
I hope that the moment creators when we fix will actually just looking at what's very curious how many kills he gotten. But even on Face It, you unfortunately cannot see the kills. So, fingers crossed, everything will run smooth for map number 2. I'm sure it will be an exciting one, but that's coming up after this break. Hello everyone, welcome back here to ESL Challenger League. My name is Fearless, once again next to Sneaky, and we're waiting for map 2 to start, but already map 1 really delivered. Mirage was pretty one-sided in favor of ex-5yclone, and now we have to wait and see what map 2 got for us in store.
Yeah, it's exciting times here, and WingsUp really need to get themselves back into gear right now. The veto was always going to favour ex-5yclone or the Tai Lu boys, and
Yeah.
the fact they were able to dispatch them on one of their worst maps, or one of their lesser played maps in Mirage, already speaks to maybe some teething issues for these two now European players coming over to this Chinese roster. As I said, Gas, Land, Flying, they're still there. They've been mainstays of WingsUp for the past 3 years or so, but Koreas and Bloggers have been here for 2, 3, maybe 4 days total. And that's including travel time, because Koreas was posting all over his Instagram saying, ooh, what Chinese team am I going to be playing for? Which was an entertaining little run-up to his eventual signing
Yeah.
to WingsUp.
Yeah. I mean, if we're looking here at Map 1, Bloggers were actually doing pretty well. I mean, still it was a bit of a lackluster performance of the entire squad, but out of sort of everyone, he was second on the scoreboard. So I do hope to see more of his opening action. On the flip side, I would have to say Jamyoung was having a phenomenal performance with so many multi-frags, and Mercury as well, just anchoring all the way and delivering every single opportunity he had.
Oh, it was clean stuff. As Inferno up next, looks to be another clean affair for the likes of ex-5yclone or Tyloo. There's a reason they are 5-0 right now. They are very, very good at, well, their entire pool, but Inferno especially, despite them not having the most success on it on HLTV as of late. I think we can say that's fair enough. They were playing it in Pro League a couple of times, and up against the best of the best teams in the world, not just in Europe, and even though they do sometimes go hand in hand, they put up a good fight. And yesterday they won 13-4 over the Mongols, which is of course a major qualifying team, a team with some very big names behind it. They didn't have their full roster, they had a coach playing with them, but then again, Cammy is also the coach of ex-5yclone, and they are in the server again today. No real excuses there, and assimilating 2 new players, and the Chinese players are now having to speak English. With the barriers should come also new possibilities, and I'm excited to see what they can bring out on Inferno, especially given that we are now in CS2 territory.
Yeah, it already proved that momentum and economy building was very important over on Mirage. And the same sort of thing can be said for a map like Inferno. It's a sort of a very back and forth kind of map. And that in itself is always a bit scary. If you're not able to convert rounds and your economy is not really on your side, then you have lesser room, for example, to, eco, even double eco. And then, you hand your opponent 2 rounds out of the potential 12 that are there in half one.
Yeah, I feel like we are seeing more force buys coming through in part because of the added pressures of, well, basically having 6 less rounds in a map, 3 less rounds and a half. I mean, Monty found great success with it yesterday in EU Challenger. A 3rd round force buy netted them a ridiculous wealth of rounds over on Anubis, making it look very CT-sided for the entirety of the game. As now into this one, we do go, and it will be Bloggers to start things off. Cammy sent flying, but at least we do have Kriaz in the server and registered this time.
Yeah, that's already a very good sign that is the case. No one confused anymore. No production that has to step in. But let's see, because they are a player down in this scenario, and Banana is very heavily taken with players up close. I do wonder. Oh, the contact has been made, but are they going to be checking the close angle? Oh, that is a very shift headshot. Gas will be falling back on the back of that, making sure the Banana stays there, but he's not going to be giving them any unnecessary fights. Now that I do still have that player advantage. It's going to be A, though, and immediately putting the pressure right up on short.
Oh, that's so awkward from Bloggis, though. Mercury gifted a freebie, a chance of coming back in the round. What is going on towards Pit here? There are flying T's everywhere, and now Gas and Krias have it all to do. The 2-on-3. As the flash flies on over, Gas forced back at least for a moment, swings the corner though. Mercury, he is the insurance policy. He is here to trade out K's. Needs to be careful he's not spotted first though. He will not be. Mercury, an excellent capitalization onto the undercover Gas, leaving Krias now in a 1 versus 3. And this round somehow, some way, has fallen in favour of Cyclone. And they're already off to an immediately impressive start. Krias, can't even find the exiting Mercury.
I mean, everyone will die because it is Inferno after all, so the bomb radius is still massive. But, you know, out of sort of all the rounds that we have, this is probably the one it matters in at least. But still, Cyclone have that pistol round in the bag. Bit unfortunate because it looked very promising in the beginning. Very good early banana control. It was very hard to burst on through, but as soon as that decision towards A came in, it was like the Glocks were just better than USPs.
Yeah, I mean, Blongis was desperately trying to aim for the head here, but the way the hitboxes are at the moment, you're honestly just better off spamming either side of the head, and you will eventually land a headshot kill. 2 Molotovs, though, toward the top of Banana, as Advent immediately capitalizes on some freebies, on some ecos, flying on the P2000 there. Well, ready to step on in at a moment's notice, as Cyclone might want to consider just heading on back over to Aki. There is a lot of pistols waiting for them. The USPs are pretty brutal in the new game. Cammy doesn't give a damn, wants his eco frags, and flies on round for 2 towards Oranges, and Advent finds a second of his own. All up to Blogist now in a 1 versus 5, and call me crazy, but something tells me there should be 2 on the board for Cyclone.
Blog is all the way over towards A. I mean, you have a USP, you have literally 0 investment, you might as well try to go for a hunt. Maybe he's expecting someone to be just a tad bit closer. I mean, surely with time they will. We have Jamyoung, for example, with his Mech 10 now pushing slowly into T-Ramp. But the USP can't do anything. Jamyoung farms even more cash with that Mech 10. So, yeah, Cyclone, they have money for days pretty much here on the back of 2 rounds. And a nice bonus round that can come out. It's going to be going up against M4s and an AWP. What's the approach going to be here for WingsUp? Seen here and there some cheeky smoke spams, for example, where you try to make some work out of middle. Go for a bit of an aggressive peek towards Banana, even with all the utilators flying their way. Oh, and the same can be said for Blogis, but look at that. Flying has his back. And that is 2 opening frags.
Impressive stuff, that. Cyclone, the walking wounded so far, could still potentially jostle for this B control, though. There will be LAN and there will be gas waiting for them here. Although they've got Molotovs, and setting gas on fire never results in a particularly pleasant explosion. Gas manages to deal big damage to Mercury. That nade should be enough, but speaking of nades, so is Mercury's. I don't think I've ever seen an HE trade before. There's now an open bomb site. Will result in a plant. Advent perhaps not realising he has the bomb, runs a little too far there, but eventually punches the digits in, and now a very winnable 2 versus 3. They've got another smoke between them too, cutting off the CT rotation angle. Kriaz, well, does the job for them towards the top of Banana, as that second smoke will now bloom. K's still pre-fired through, as it looks like WingsUp are pressuring for the retake. They're coming in through coffins in squares. Kriaz actually fully blinded by his teammates' flashbang. Not practical in the slightest. Kriaz spotted by Advent, but what is going on there? Flying in Kriaz, it's 1 apiece. Do they have enough time because of their ramblings? I think they might just have this. It's going to be right down to the wire, but WingsUp could really use this round right now. Oh no, it's going to be Cyclone regardless.
3-0. And that is extremely rough. WingsUp had once again the chance of a lifetime. Players advantage, but they were a bit hesitant there on the retake. They knew there was a player up in the inner site. And yeah, they all smoked off. And what do you want to do? Yeah, you can sort of all come from the same angle, but that can also be risky. So at the end of the day, enough delay, no kit as well. Just went for that AWP investment. And even in a round like this, there's only 2 kids coming into play for this round. They do at least let that smoke fade away on the back of a nade. That's very nicely done, but the trades are also there.
Yeah, Blogis now peeking in towards middle. Will be forced back by the Molotov, and with 58 seconds left on the clock, Blogis just needs to hold on for a little bit longer. Flying now, peering in from the balcony, a great flat frag onto Advent. As he now peeks back down the short side, and Blogis will push through that long utility, but it will result in his instantaneous demise. Mercury and Jamyoung, it's cleanly done. Gas left in a 1v3, but there's no real chance for him to be going for this. WingsUp, another disappointing start to map 2.
In a bit of a similar fashion of what went down over on Mirage, it was a very good early start for Cyclone. And sort of only towards the latter stages of half 1 where WingsUp was starting to warm up, but you can't really let it sort of slip and build the momentum too late, because before you know it, you know, Cyclone will have the half. Of course, this is only 4 rounds thus far, and it definitely can still bounce back. But it is a scary thought that right now WingsUp, it's not even, I mean, this particular round, not really getting close. So with the round conversions that are there, there's a very nice chunk of bank for Cyclone, ready and waiting for pretty much any loss that is coming their way.
And WingsUp have gone for the 5-7 investment across Blogis and LAN here. And this is a buy that I stand behind. I am privy to a 5-7 eco round, but Gas has gone for the hero rifle. They're certainly looking to deal some damage here, more than they have been doing in these past couple of rounds, with the exception of their failed retake. LAN just butchered down towards the half wall. Lovely utility usage constantly. Gas force forwards. LAN will chuck a flashbang to try and buy them some space. And hold on a minute, it's actually Gas to double on up, capitalize on the pair of them with that hero A1S. Already proving a massively worthwhile investment so far, as Flying swings the short side. Mercury manages to make his way out of Boiler, but does he realise he's walking into a crossfire? It appears he does not care. Continues to force on forwards. They accidentally double Molotov towards Pit. A bit of a miscommunication there, but Jangyong finds Blogis. Mercury a follow-up headshot. They appear to be stabilising things, but do they anticipate Krias? Yes, they do. Excellent stuff from Mercury. 6 in 1 right now. And as Kaze plants the bomb, Cyclone pretty much guaranteed a 5.
The teamwork is just ready on point. The flashbang there to support on the site. And Mercury just, yeah, pushing further and further, even picking up that last kill. So it is 7 in 1, in fact. 5 rounds up on the board for Cyclone. And the pressure is on for WingsUp. They come back out with a double AWP. And we have seen this work before. Blogis was performing, I mean, it still wasn't perfect. Of course, WingsUp definitely still was struggling on Mirage, but Blogis was definitely hitting some impactful shots up on the AWP. So I'm curious to see what he can now do on this map of Inferno.
Yeah, Blogis, again, assisted on the double AWP setup by LAN. This is what I was saying about the team having a lot of AWPers. There's an AWP IGL and now a primary. And yes, it had some limited success in the previous map. Blogis was amping things up in that second half as well. But I'm not entirely sure if that's the solution that this team was looking for in particular. Case now. On him a long angle as LAN does the same. Nades fly on over. They both miss him for the most part. That third one, though, a shot through the wall, punishes LAN, puts him back down to 30, but it's again all a ruse. The Cyclone switch things up, and it is apparent they want to jump off for brackets control here. Oh, Champion, that was a saucy start onto Flying.
Oh, Blogis looks around at the perfect time and does not crumble under so much pressure. Krias will fall here though. That is a bit more trouble, and Gas does help. But the HP advantage certainly is there for Cyclone. Now with the bomb planted, Blogis is in quite a bit of a tough spot. exiting with an orb out of apartments. Far from easy, but he does have support coming in from long.
Gas going for a cheeky play though, but despite being blinded, so was the enemy. And it just becomes a little bit a little bit claustrophobic as K's manages to find Blogus on his AWP as well, leaving Lan in a 1 versus 2 that he does not want to contest for. He sprints back down middle towards T-Stairs, and I mean, this is just super impressive from Cyclone at this point. That's 2 maps in a row. They've won 6 rounds flawlessly, uncontested by WingsUp. And both of those 2 players will also survive the bomb radius as their cash continues to stack on up. They have an almost unlimited economy here. As the same cannot be said for the CT side. Yes, they saved that AWP on over, but the rest of the squad, it's a half bite at best. Veerless, when do we see WingsUp put a round on the board? When do we see them become competitive?
Not looking the best right now. You do still have an AWP amongst your mids, but the rest cannot afford an investment. And this is the thing, when it's so back and forth and the buy rounds are actually not really coming off the table. It's not very ideal. I kind of want WingsUp to maybe call a timeout, perhaps after this round, to really make sure that round number 8 is going to be going their way, if not this one. Blogus does have a very cheeky close angle, and I do wonder he does put the comp barrel. Oh no! The White Swings tries to still land the headshot, but misses, and his teammate's taken out with that one as well. At least, no! Oh, Korea's... He downed Jamyong to 5 HP, but it's still not a kill.
Yes, now peeking out, but unfortunately the rear flank's not going to be enough, and Lan is forced to save as this is now a 1v5. He's 1 in 5, and that AWP is too valuable an investment to risk. But Cyclone, with the amount of money that they have, honestly, just send 2 players hunting. What could possibly go wrong? Yes, even if they both go down, they'll still be able to afford copious reinvestments for the next 2 rounds at least, as Cyclone have now won out the half flawlessly, something that they were unable to do in the previous map. But 7-0 just continues to exacerbate WingsUp's problems. And at this point, I don't want to say that it's GG, but after they so convincingly beat the likes of Mongols yesterday on the same map, and the fact that this team is so new, Lan can't even save the AWP. And this really looks troublesome.
It does. It's the half secured with WingsUp still yet to find a single round. And no matter what the investment WingsUp bring out, it doesn't really seem to get off the ground. And that is really troublesome. It's right. I do wonder what else they can do. They've been playing a bit more defaulty, more passive. They've went for an aggressive banana take, and Blogus goes for a peek mid, but gets taken out. Once again, it is just not the start you want to have.
Something funny that I have realised though is that WingsUp pretty much share the same logo as the chicken on the vans in T-Spawn. So maybe they just need to go onto the T side, Veronique. Maybe that's the solution here. As, well, Blogus and Lan, the 2 primary AWPers, are getting absolutely farmed right now.
Yeah, but hypothetically, I mean, Cyclone off to one hell of a streak. If they were to get 12, they just need 1 more. So...
yeah. That
like, right now, you cannot afford to be waiting for a T site. You need... Yeah. it just can't. You can't.
I mean, I'm guessing this has gone about as well as a chicken trying to fly in a Cyclone, as flying forces the affair a little further to his favour. Jamyong removed. And the Molotov just does not land where it's supposed to, allows a swing. But Advent is swift to put that down. Gas and Krias now. It's actually a 2 versus 2. There is still some real estate here. They need to go for the round, and more importantly, they desperately need to win it. K's AWP barrel possibly spotted, but a re-smoke comes on in. In fact, there's a lot of smoke deployed. I don't know quite how this one's going to go, Veerless, but Advent still has an advantage.
And the time is ticking as well. Yes, there is another kill coming right on through, but there's no kit in the hands of Prius. Oh, and it doesn't even matter. Kays takes him down with ease. And that's an 8th. Even though, yes, it was closer, I don't think that clutch was winnable just on the back of time. Just maybe trying to get some more kills going. But the money is once again in a bit of a sticky situation. There is enough, but it's not optimal, and you might end up with some SMGs here and there.
The Cyclone are just waltzing through WingsUp at this point. 2 players on 2 kills or less. 3 for Bloggis, and we're 9 rounds in. Nobody posting a positive rating as Advent just continues to charge down Banana. Lan eats up more damage. The IGL clearly really struggling here. Molotov deployed on top of Advent, but Cammy swings. That's the coach, by the way, going 8 and 6. As B is now completely open, and it's going to have to be a save for WingsUp. This has been a decimation. We genuinely could be staring down the barrel of my first CS2 13-0, a flawless game. As WingsUp look just distraught at this stage.
Yeah, we already were talking about their struggle to find momentum over on Mirage, and we did still lend ourselves with an 8-4 half at least. But this is already a 9-0, and I am very scared of what is to come next, if it really is going to be 12 in halftime.
13-0! 13-0!
I mean, in a way, it's sort of cool, but then again, I want a competitive game as well.
I mean, yeah, imagine this being your debut game with WingsUp. The Chinese organization, they've flown you out, they're paying for your apartment, they're giving you a crazy salary, and you get 3 kills and 2 kills between the pair of you on map 2. That is a very harsh way of looking at it, I know, but it's not going to be sitting comfortably with these 2 European players on their Asian debut. Yes, it is CS2. I'm sure there are plenty of things going wrong client side for them. As I know yesterday, I got about 6 stutters a second when I tried to swing a corner. Every time a Molotov was deployed, I froze. I imagine these guys have significantly better PCs than I do, but CS2 is still got its own problems, and you cannot play it the same as you would CSGO, especially if you are an AWPer. Cyclone, though, they've had their practice now on CS2. They had their opening game yesterday, and they are looking as clean as you like. 9-0. They're not slowing down in the slightest. Cammy, I don't know if that was an intentional lack of utility buy. I think it was, as he was flashed through the smoke. Does get butchered by Lan, but oh my god, Mercury has just dealt with the crossfire towards the back of a hall. That is so hard to do, and Jamyoung has just opened up the site entirely. This is 10-0, and I've run out of nice things to say about WingsUp.
You do hope that there is still some fire left in them. But once again, you know, gas can save a rifle, but not magically gonna bring a ton of cash back into the bank, and even him cannot save that M4. It's rough. That's the only way we can put it. And the money is not ideal. I think I see Korea's buying up here. But it's round 11. You have after this 1 more. Do you really want to go all out with this? And then risk not having money for the last round of the half? I mean, I do understand. Because at the end of the day, you know, you're 10-0 down. And something needs to happen. So Korea goes for a bit of a hero rifle. There's some pistols around it. There's a nice chunk of util. But Cyclone have just been dealing with it effortlessly.
Yeah, this has been dominant, to say the least. Not very communist of Cyclone. There's been no sharing going on here. Advent takes a bit of nade damage. Mercury does it again, opens up onto Kriaz. It's a 5 versus 4 right now. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I think we all know where this one is going. They head to B, there's 2 pistols waiting as Advent and Cammy, they ebb their way forwards. And that was a headshot apparently as Advent rounds the corner, and Lan is able to pick up 2 kills on just a 5-7. As I said, my favourite busted pistol right now, as Bloggis doesn't even know where the plant comes in. K's allowed to swing cleanly and flying. It's a 1v3.
Yeah, there we have it.
Wow.
Case with ease lands himself 9 kills. Still, well, he died once. That was it.
Yeah.
11-0.
13-3 for Mercury as well. It seems WingsUp have got Mercury poisoning. Scoreline prediction, Veronique?
Oh! 13-1. I think maybe they can get like a pistol round or something, but like that is the most RNG, right? With a pistol round. So I think maybe in that scenario something can still be done. But it is very, very painful looking right now. At least they do trade over here after Edvins and now Lan both out. But the star players on Cyclone still alive. Bit of noise being made over towards B, and it's quite a gamble that right now with 3 CTs sticking up on A. And they have so little information. The bomb's still on Banana. And I do wonder, they're just waiting for content. Bloggers actually on the lack of content. Perhaps tempted to rotate over? No, he sticks to A.
Come on, Griez, this is your time to shine. Swings wide with the FAMAS, but unable to dispatch of Mercury. Instead, that's Bloggis through the smoke. Now, Bracken's control no longer owned by Cyclone. Instead, they're caught up in the clouds. Appropriate given their name, Griez. Does he account for a boost here? Jamyoung on the top. As a flash rounds the corner, doesn't really do much. Bloggis has fallen away as well as Griez spots the boost, but just doesn't react. Jamyoung decimates him, and now we're into a 3-on-3. He's rounding the corner, and flying is the sole defender until Bloggis is able to pitch up in library. Cammy the first. Bloggis, it's the USP, divine a trade. Now a 2-on-2. K's whiffing shots. Bloggis still alive. Cammy takes him down. Spot for last player. Oh, and it's not going to be the flawless half. It will be, finally, WingsUp putting a round on the board.
Finally, but it is just one. It is one hell of an uphill battle. But with that, we will throw to a short break, and let's find out if they can come back after this. So indeed, we do not have a 12-0 scoreline. They did manage to clutch up one final round there in that first half. But man, is this an uphill battle. Cyclone have been completely running over WingsUp here on their map pick of Inferno.
Yeah, WingsUp already off to a... Okay, better start than I thought. Flying recovers very nicely there. Jamyoung sent to space as Advent tries to create some space with a smoke of his own. Oh, he's run through the smoke with a dualies. This is crazy. Cammy and Advent find one apiece. There's a 3 versus 4 already. Cyclone heavily favoured. Blogis legs it with a bomb. There's a 2-man rotation to A, and it appears that Cyclone have accounted for every eventuality. Oh, if WingsUp only knew there was a rotation, though.
Cyclone just keep 2 members on each site. And it's really Kaze here about to be tested. Flying is super very low, so on paper, very much still in favor of Cyclone. There we go, Flying goes down, Bloggers as well, and Mercury lands that final shot. 12-1, one more round away of winning this map and this entire series.
Yeah, this has been one of the quicker maps I've ever casted. And bearing in mind,
sure.
It's also MR12, not MR15. It's lopped off an extra 6 rounds or so of potential victories. As I think to say that WingsUp need to go back to the drawing board on this one would be a bit of an understatement. I feel like they need to get some scrims in, some prac in, and I also feel like Valve need to do a lot to fix CS2. As Blogis fixes himself an opening kill. K's a trade with the HE. Really nicely done. Lobs in a smoke as well, but I'm not a fan of that swing. Leaves a lot of responsibility on Mercury, and that's responsibility he is unable to account for. Veronique, your 13-1 prediction looking like it might just have slipped away from you here.
Yeah, I think so. Jamyoung looking to save towards T-Ramp instead. Ooh, it will actually be taken up by a Mech 10 on his rear flank. So this is more like it, but WingsUp still 10 rounds down. They have just a tiny bit more wiggle room because there's simply no money on the side of ex-5yclone. Potentially even here 4s that needs to come out.
Okay, the Nova is busted as well. I've got a list. I've added the Nova to it. We got decimated by it yesterday on Vertigo to the point it wasn't even funny. I want to see if Advent can do the same in a professional environment, because there is, of course, a big skill gap between us and Advent. But come on, go B. You know you want to go B. You know you want to walk into it. It's for science. A science experiment. Come on, lad.
Oh, there's 2 people still waiting around the corner. CT smoke. And surely it will trigger Advent. Oh, but are they going to commit?
Bomb not yet picked up. Still resting towards the bottom of T-Ramp. Yes, will edge his way back down, and it appears we will not be getting our stint of Nova fun towards B, at least for now. And actually, we've had a gamble rotation over towards that side of the map, so Cyclone's A defense is already pretty desolate. It's going to be Mercury and Jamyoung against the world with just pistols to boast and not a drop of utility. Jamyoung on the jiggle does tag Blogis and hits him again. As Land now forces his way out long, but Mercury ill-equipped with just a 5-7 to deal with him. Means that this round should be well and truly over. A third on the board for WingsUp as Cyclone do let a couple slip the net here.
Yeah, as we were saying, this had to be a force buy. So it was going to be quite the battle here anyway. Oh, no!
Oh no, he's missed it. That's sad.
That is very... Yeah, that is very sad. But oh well. They still make it quite costly. You know, there's 3 kills that went the way of ex-5yclone here. So another reinvestment needs to come on through for WingsUp. And once again, 9 rounds they still need in order to bridge the gap. This next one will be, once again, a bit easier because previous one was an eco. Therefore, this one is just, well, yeah, yet again, another one.
Yeah, we're going to have to probably watch WingsUp net themselves a 4th round on the board here. Bearing in mind when Cyclone played this map yesterday, the score was also a 16-4. As LAN looks to ensure there's no monkey business around top banana with those pistols there. LAN swings his way into another opener. Really nicely done. And they're just absolutely peppering these pistols. There is a dink landed onto LAN and Gas. Case picks up a deagle, does a little bit of extra damage. Now being held by Vlogis though. Still alive and kicking, makes it a little dangerous. The smoke eventually deployed though. And Jamyoung back in a 1v3. The USP is good, but it's not quite that good.
Will be dealt with. So now we really see WingsUp starting to rally up. But can it still be enough? Cyclone back on a buy, back with Kaze on an orb. 14 in 6, Mercury 14 in 7. The kills really favoured them. And yes, a small slip up, the pistol not quite going their way, not much money. Now, this is really where the pressure is going to be hitting.
Yeah, WingsUp cannot let it get to their heads yet. Maybe just think of it as go. 12-4 scoreline. That's easily comebackable, especially on Inferno. And in the meantime, though, making life incredibly difficult for himself, and that's probably not going to end well. Cammy, what is going on here? Cammy's just walked straight past the low HP player in LAN. Advent might go down because of this. Nades expended. LAN, the patience of a saint, but eventually dispatched off. That is very unfortunate. It could have been a huge position to work with, but Gas now avoids narrowly being peppered by a FAMAS through smoke. Does have the bomb. Will still be bringing it towards A, where there is a crossfire in wait. Mercury doesn't realize this is where they'll be executing into. Looks to lob his nade out anyway. That's big damage done. Great kill from Kaze. Mercury pushes the long smoke. And there we have it. An incredibly dominant display. I did not expect that. I expected maybe a 2-0, but a 13-5 and a 13-4. Veronique, well, back to the studio on that one.
Yeah, I was not quite expecting this. It's so strange because I felt that Mirage was so much closer, but in the end it was only a single round difference. Yeah. But Inferno, of course, started off with just this massive stomp, which really made this all feel a bit different. It was just a struggle trying to really even get a single round on the board. With Mirage, they were here and there a couple of rounds, but they just struggled to find conversions. And here it was just very slow pace and hard to get yourself off the ground.
I mean, it wasn't for lack of trying. WingsUp did come very, very close in a lot of these rounds. I mean, calling all the way back to, I think it was round number 5, where they don't quite have enough time for the defuse, despite actually winning the retake with 3 left alive. If they'd have picked up that round, then maybe it would have spurred them into a very different scenario. But it was very, very close to being a 12-0 half. It was a miracle that WingsUp were able to pick up that final one. But I think that's going to be a series that WingsUp would rather forget as their inaugural game with 2 new European players. There's going to be a lot of teething issues. An international lineup now, they always have their problems, especially when the IGL is making the transition from such a different language, from Chinese to English, different callouts, different nuances. But that is at least all from us here in Asia for today. I do believe we will be back with more action next week, but we do have EU Challenger coming up later today. That will again be brought to you by myself and the wonderful Veerless. But Veerless, would you like to wrap things up here in Asia before we throw to an extended break?
Yeah, even with it being a pretty dominant victory here, I do think it was still exciting nonetheless. WingsUp there is definitely some work here that needs to be done, but then again, it is sort of still here in the early stages of the Challenger League, and there's so many more weeks to come that, yeah, one day we can forget about this, and then we just, with the future ahead of us, we have so much more action to come. And as you were saying, EU will be coming up later on tonight, 7 p.m. Central European time, so definitely come check that out. But for now, we will be going off air, and we hope to catch you all later on tonight.